Good morning, everyone. My name is Wilson Lau. I'm from the Institute for Infocom Research. It's part of the A-Star family of research institutes. And what I'm going to do is, before I go into specific technologies that maybe product or service providers might want to consider incorporating in some of their potential product offerings, I would like to give you a brief overview of what A-Star has to offer in terms of the other competencies. Okay. Now, in terms of the corporate mission, we are basically an R&D institute, and we receive our funding eventually from the Ministry for Trade and Industry. And we do actively look for areas that we try to pre-invest in some of the R&D activities. And we will take it up to, say, a proof of concept or prototype level. And that's where we work closely with our colleagues from Exploit, who is actually A-Star's commercialization arm, to then look for opportunities to work with companies to go to market. And usually one of the commercialization arrangement could be some form of licensing. So in terms of the research headcount, we have just under 600 researchers, of which about half of them are PhD holders. We also have, we take an active role in trying to develop the next generation of researchers for the Singapore economy. Now, in a broad spec, the competencies that we have can be broadly grouped into three major categories. There are technologies that are offered by some of the departments in communications, some that are related to multimedia, and there are some that are related to intelligence. The organizational structure for I2R is very matrix. So basically every researcher has a home base in one of the 10 departments that's listed here. And we draw some of the resources to form industry programs that we engage companies with. Okay, I'm just going to give a very quick one slide. The slides will be available on the cloud computing portal, and you can contact me if you need more details. This is just a good listing of some of the key research activities that are currently ongoing for the multimedia area, for intelligence. In fact, a number of the key technologies that we have has a lot to deal with content analysis and processing in the communications area. Now, in terms of what is possible for cloud computing, we basically took a quick snapshot of some of the technologies. And what I'm going to do is, over the next 10-15 minutes, just to give you an idea of some of the things that we are thinking about in terms of the value proposition when we talk about some of these technologies. And perhaps maybe if there are companies that are interested, we can talk about how we can try to fit some of these components into your overall systems. Okay, the first one has to do with a platform known as Scalable Multimedia Platform. Basically, what we are saying is that currently, in terms of service providers for video content, very often you have to encode a specific format for a specific platform. There are not many solutions out there that enables you to encode in one format but be able to target various platforms. So for example, the TV environment, the PC, as well as the mobile. So there is a particular format that we are looking at which is standards-based. It's known as the Scalable Video Codecs. And we also have some contributions on the scalable audio towards standards. Now, what you're seeing in terms of mainstream players today are H.264. So there's actually a scalable extension to H.264 to cater for scalable encoding of content. Okay, so one of the possible scenarios that you might want to think about is that consumers may eventually want to have sort of their a personal media locker. Basically, they keep all their content on the cloud, and it's securely protected. But the thing is that when you stream, most likely you have different platforms. The consumer may have platforms for his home TV, his PC, as well as his mobile. So then you have to think about in terms of the encoding. Now, some of these codecs that we have available, they could perhaps give some significant reductions in terms of storage as well as streaming. Okay. Now, in terms of the customer experience, it's pretty much the same because there are solutions currently available, say with Adobe and Microsoft, but they use a different format by using containers. Okay. Now, another technology relates to image recognition. So one of the things that the researchers are looking at is the scenario works like this. You walk past a digital signage. Okay, you like a particular ad. Instead of taking a QR code or a two-dimensional code, you take a picture of the poster itself. And then it will then return you information about that particular product or service offering. It can be promotional information, it can be more detailed information on how to get the product at a particular store, or it could be some detailed information about the product itself. So this is one area in which we can actually do that. Another use case that we have actually applied it to is in the education space, whereby you can, in fact, there are some trials that have been done with school kids at the zoo. You take some exhibits, it recognizes certain landmarks, and it's then able to give you more information about that particular landmark. Okay, augmented reality technology. We have groups of, in fact, it just so happens, quite coincidentally, we have an event organized by our colleagues from Exploit yesterday. It's known as Media Exploits. So in fact, I think I see some familiar faces from yesterday. So one of the technologies that they are looking at here is you can think of it as a magic mirror concept. A customer stands in front of a mirror, and certain apparel or accessories are actually modeled on the person. So you get a chance to see what it feels, or rather you can get a chance to see what it looks like on you before you buy the product. One of the most active aspects of this activity right now is on virtual spectacles. So you can see from the picture up there, the glass is actually modeled onto your face, and they're actually actively talking to optical shops because the value proposition here is quite strong. When you walk into a shop these days, people want something that's personalized to themselves. So they are looking at colors, different kind of configuration, but the shop can only carry a certain inventory. So with this particular technology, what it does is that if you're able to render any kind of glasses on the face, you can actually have the entire optical chain's virtual inventory available for doing that. And then if you take the idea further, they can do things like clothes. Currently, right now, clothes is still ongoing work. The best they can do right now is on a 2D. They haven't got around to a 3D rendering. And they're also looking at things like hairstyle. If you're going to a barber shop, before you invest $10, $20 on a haircut, you want to see how it looks on you. It may look good on Justin Bieber, but it may not necessarily look good on you. So these are some of the things that you can think about. Okay, 3D face modeling, similar to the other group's activity, but what this one does is takes a picture of a 2D picture of you, and then it does a 3D rendering. So then we can actually put on things like accessories, earrings, glasses, hair, and all that. In fact, we do have a licensee for this. It's called FX Media. If you can actually try. They have actually a website out there on trials whereby you can actually play around with it. What they are doing with this technology is by offering virtual greeting cards. But they're offering a platform to allow advertisers to promote their products, but they do it in a very amusing and intriguing way. Okay. Virtual dance. This one is slightly different in the sense that most of the solutions that you see out there is you react to an avatar. The avatar is dancing in a particular way and you follow. But what this one does is it turns its head around. The avatar reacts to you. So it looks at your behavior, it analyzes your activity level, and the avatar will be generated to basically try to dance in synchronous with you. So in a way, it revolves around you. So you can do things like perhaps learn a new dance and see how it interacts when you dance with a virtual lady before you actually dance with the actual lady. Okay. Speech and language technologies. We have a department known as Human Language Technologies. They have been in this space for quite some time. So some of the speech-related technologies could be used for scenarios like, for example, you can have cross-lingual instant messaging from one language to another. You can have a voice-automated call center. 1 or 2 years ago, one of the hospitals in Singapore, they had actually a directory that is voice-activated. So instead of talking to an operator to find an extension for somebody, you can actually use your voice and then be able to go through the I2R type of functions. There's also speech translation as a potential telecom service. Now this one is a little tricky if you look at the mechanics. So if you go from one language to another, you're talking about speech to text, text to text, and then text to speech synthesis. And finally, you probably can see some of these solutions out there already. They are actually voice search over the internet, like what Google is offering. We also have some components that are able to do that as well in I2R. Okay, I think this one is my last slide. One other technology relates to document security. Now, there are a number of solutions out there in the market that enables you to do access control at the document level. That means you can grant access for people to read, to edit, and then you can revoke access. Now, what this one does, it takes it a little bit further. For documents like Word and PDF, we can actually do it at the segment level. That means for a particular, let's say, one possible scenario might be a press release. Okay, certain paragraphs of that press release is only seen by certain people at a certain time. Okay, so you can actually mark out the various segments of that document, and that can actually be done through this solution. And of course, one of the beauty of this is that because at the end of the day, you need to check back with the server for the registry information. Beyond a certain time, you may actually revoke the access rights to that particular document. Now, for the other Office documents like, let's say for example, Excel, PowerPoint, right, the access control will be done at the document level. So the value of this is actually more in terms of the Word or the PDF type of documents that you can actually do more fine-grained access control. Okay. Now, we have a lot of other technologies. So I've made available a series of technology info sheets. But if you have anything, please do contact us, and we'll try our best to address your